right, we are back. This is the one and only OSB Sports Podcast Show. I'm Scott Matthews, and I'm joined by my two big guests, the big kahuna himself of OSB Sports, Tommy D, and the man, Sports Profits CEO, Teddy Brooks. How you guys doing today?
What's up, guys? What's up, Scotty?
All good, Scotty.
Tommy.
Everything is unbelievable for us over here. We put out a lot of winning. We'll talk about that a little later in the show. But there's a lot of stuff going on out there, guys. If you watched that Monday night first football game, man, unbelievable. Aaron Rodgers, fourth play of the game for him. He's down. They're saying he's out for the season. Can you believe that, Teddy?
Just got the alert on my phone. Out for the season. Achilles. It's funny. I was not funny at all, but when I was watching the game last night, I got a text from a friend who's he's a physical therapist, and he always calls the injuries. And he said right away Achilles. Then on TV they were saying ankle, but sure enough, it is Achilles. Very sad. A lot of hate this guy gets.
Yep.
He seemed to really turn it around. I was reading comments under the news. They weren't positive at all. Everyone was happy that he was hurt. I hate seeing that. I think we could have saw something cool this year, and it's done.
It's amazing. I don't know if I think he makes big kahuna money. He got $15 million a snap.
Yeah, like you said, it's a tragedy. National TV. The old saying in a New York Minute: this guy goes 4 snaps and boom.
Let's take a look at it here.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a hard hit.
It wasn't even hit hard.
Yeah. Well, that happens.
Wow.
A lot of players.
Wow, look at that. National TV.
A loss of 10 on the play.
And an interesting thing, he was getting pressured it was the fourth play?
Fourth play.
He was getting pressured on every play. That offensive line didn't look right. I mean, who knows what kind of year he would have had if it didn't happen there, maybe somewhere else. But, yeah, it's sad.
Well, the Jets got bumped up to 35-1 to win the Super Bowl from 18-1.
Yeah.
We talk about injuries earlier in the year. One injury could just throw a whole team out of whack.
Well, especially you're talking about a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, he's down now for the season. Now the Jets are in a little dilemma. They're going to have to figure out that they keep Zach Wilson, who's running the show and knows the system, or do you bring someone else in the mix and see what they can do? Not knowing the system. So I think they're probably going to work with Zach Wilson. I think so. I think he's got potential, and they say Aaron Rodgers is going to be around to help him out.
They did find a way to beat the Bills last night. So
I think the Bills beat the Bills last night. What do you think?
I think that was sheer luck that
Josh
they beat
Allen looked terrible.
Yeah, Josh Allen didn't look good. And I'm going to talk about this later, but Same thing like Joe Burrow. I mean, some of these top guys, they have an off week the first week. A lot of times they don't get because these guys aren't playing a lot, right, in the preseason. It's the backups who are playing a lot. So give them all a week to get their things right. I think the Jets stick with Zach Wilson. I think Aaron Rodgers mentors him, and this could become a really cool story. It really could.
It could be what they call it, like the amazing Mets. It could be the amazing Jets.
Or a disaster. We'll see.
Or a disaster, exactly. Well, guys, we got a lot of things going on. Obviously, we got some big games this week. I want to kick it off with the Thursday night NFL matchup. They played each other last year in Philly, these same two teams. You got Minnesota traveling to Philadelphia Thursday night. The line on this game, Philly is 7, solid. Tommy, what's your thoughts on this game? You have an opinion on this game?
Well, neither team did really great week one. Eagles just got by the Pats. I did have the Eagles last week -4. Vikings lose to the Tampa -4.5. Vikings pretty much didn't really show much last week. And neither did really Minnesota. I'm going to put this out as a lean, not an official pick. But if I had a lean on this, I'm taking the points, buying it up to 7.5, take the Vikings to cover.
Well, Teddy put out a strong play. He went against Minnesota. Congrats to you. You got your players paid with Tampa Bay as a live dog. And you have any opinion on this game at all Thursday night?
Yeah, so that Bucks game, that was a big game for me. This game's not so much. I look at it, and the one thing that everybody talks about is Kirk Cousins if every game was at 1 o'clock, he'd win the last 2 Super Bowls, right? You've heard that one before.
Yeah.
Because he plays so well Sunday at 1 o'clock. But primetime games,
Falls apart.
he
for some
doesn't
reason.
show up, right? He
Yeah.
just doesn't show up. And then in the playoffs last year, didn't show up. It's a lot. It seems like a lot of points for an Eagles team that underperformed last week, but I'm staying away from it in general. If I had a gun to my head, I'd go Vikings, but I'm not putting $1 on this game.
Well, these two teams met last year, and if you remember, I think it was a Monday night game, and the line was much shorter than this line of 7. But Kirk Cousins just made so many mistakes in the red zone or driving down. They could have really had a shot to win that game. I mean, 24-7 was the final, but they turned the ball over about 3 or 4 different times. He made some crucial mistakes. I think that this game is going to be a little different. I think it's a short week. I think Minnesota's going to come back a little bit. Philadelphia might come down a little on this game. Obviously on a short week, they don't have all the preparation to go into it. I think 7 points is solid here, and I think Minnesota could travel on the road, and I think they're going to keep themselves in it. I think Kirk Cousins is going to remember how poor he played in that game. I mean, when you got a guy like Jefferson, they got a decent defense. I think Minnesota stays in this game, guys, and I jump on Minnesota plus the 7 to keep this game close.
So, Scotty, we kind of all lean Minnesota here, right? Last week, we all had the Lions.
We certainly did.
And they won by a point. Really quick, let's look at this clip of, if you guys watched that game, you saw what happened with the receivers. Patrick Mahomes, I felt that guy was like, what the heck? Everybody was dropping passes. It was a mess. Look at this thing.
No, this is crazy. Wide receiver tryouts for the Chiefs today? What the heck?
I love it.
Also, what happened last night?
Tommy, you better get going.
Didn't someone delete their Instagram account after this game or something?
Yeah, Kadarius Toney deleted his Instagram account. He was the one that the pass was in his hands. It wasn't high. It wasn't low.
Right through his
It wasn't
hands.
to the right. It wasn't to the left. It was dead in the center of his hands, and he tipped it, and that was a pick 6 for the Lions.
Turned the
That
game
right
around.
there is the difference maker. Absolutely. Kelsey was not in that game. We made this call on the Lions before we were even sure if Kelsey wasn't official or not. They need Kelsey. And I think what we saw is going to take, I'm not a prop bettor, but if you're a prop bettor, how does Kelsey not crush the props every week? I mean, he's the only guy they have with hands.
And he's still, it's unknown if he'll play week 2.
And also, they just signed Chris Jones. They saw him sitting in the suite up there. I think they got a little nervous, him sitting up in the suite instead of playing. So they signed him to a 1-year deal.
He's back.
I think they did it on Monday.
He's back.
Yep. So that's going to help the defense. I mean, the offense is going to work. You know it is. When you have Mahomes and you got those weapons, it's just a matter of time. Like you say, it could have been the first week situation, too. They might have been jacked up from the ceremonies. No Kelsey, no Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really I don't have any nervous about Kansas City.
Either way, we all nailed the pick.
That's it. It worked out great. Well, we got a huge Saturday this week. Some big games finally coming up in college football. I know Tommy's been doing his homework, and I know there's one game on his mind that he loves as a best bet. What do we got, Tommy?
Well, as we spoke earlier in the year, college football is interesting because you have total mismatch talent on some games. And I'm not going to look the sweat out of Florida-Tennessee game this Saturday. They can go down to the last second. I'm looking at this Kansas-Nevada game. Now, the Jayhawks go out to Reno, Nevada. Nevada has given up 99 points the last 2 games. They're 0-10 straight up the last 10. 2-10 ATS. All right. They've only did 20 points offensively the last 2 games. I will go out on a limb here and say Kansas is going to roll into Reno and totally annihilate Nevada. The line is 28 right now. I think it could be 38. Lay the 28 with the Jayhawks to totally annihilate Nevada in Nevada.
Wow. Okay. That's the big play for the big kahuna, huh?
Exactly.
Anything else on Saturday?
That's all I'm really looking at today.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of tough matchups on Saturday. I'm looking for something that can just be a nice, easy blowout.
All right. I know Teddy's got some. I think you have a play on Friday night you like also.
I'm going to go
correct?
backwards here for a
right.
second. You know, that's the beauty of college football. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday right now. And then soon it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 5 days a week.
MAC football.
Maction, they call it. All right, so Friday, I really like Utah State plus 10 against Air Force. Air Force is 0-2 against the spread this year against non-FBS schools, and Utah is 2-0 against spread, including a loss to Iowa, but they covered the spread handily, and then they absolutely crushed it last week. Huge score. I think they won 78-28 or something like that. They put up a lot of points.
Yep.
They have a very, very aggressive attack. They rushed for 380 yards in that game. And here's the thing. They are 2-0 straight up in the last 2 years against Air Force as the underdog. Am I saying they're going to win straight up again this week? Not necessarily, but I think 10.5 points is a lot. Like I said, they destroyed Idaho State last week. It was not even close. And Air Force hasn't really been, I mean, they're solid on defense, but they haven't really been running up that score to cover the points so far this year.
Okay. So that's is that your top play, or is that just?
It's my Friday play.
Okay.
It's my Friday play.
What about Saturday?
Saturday, I'm looking
Best bet.
Saturday, I'm looking best bet. I'm looking at 2 games right now.
Okay.
I'm a little bit mixed between the two. I'm looking at Western Kentucky. I think 28 points is a lot of points for OSU, for Ohio State to cover. Public's all over Ohio State. They haven't covered the big spread yet this year. Kyle McCord is their quarterback now, but he hasn't really truly replaced C.J. Stroud yet. And Western Kentucky 5-2 against the spread in the last 7 on the road, 10-5 against the spread overall. The Hilltoppers are 3-0 against the spread against the Big Ten.
Doing your homework, huh?
It's a lot of points. I'm a numbers guy. It's a lot of points.
Love it.
It's a lot of points. But my other game that I'm leaning on, this is like a tough one for me, but it is a full bet. I shouldn't say lean because it's a full bet.
Okay.
I'm rolling. I had them last week, and I just want to talk about that real quick. So Ole Miss last week, they covered the spread, but it was a weird situation. They were 7-point favorites. Tulane's quarterback, they pulled him right before the game. That line went up to 13. They still covered that 13, but it was a little bit of a backdoor. Going with Ole Miss again. 4-1 against the spread against the ACC. The only thing that worries me about Ole Miss is that they play Bama next week, so I'm hoping that they're not looking ahead.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very possible.
Looking ahead's a big thing in football. And
especially in college.
yeah, I mean, and that's another reason why I like Western Kentucky, because Ohio State plays Notre Dame next week, so that's a little bit of a look-ahead situation. Also, I think Ole Miss comes home and bashes Georgia Tech, so I'm on Ole Miss, Western Kentucky on Saturday.
All right, you heard it. This man's doing his homework. Wow, got all the numbers, got everything lined up. Got to love the work that this guy puts in. All right, guys, I got a blowout situation on Saturday. I am going big time on Notre Dame to blow out Central Michigan. Notre Dame's 2-0. They've won every game easily. I feel they're going to win this game easily. They're a 34-point favorite. For me to put out a 34-point favorite, I got to really like it. And I think that Notre Dame will win this game by as many as they want, guys, as many as they want. The 34 won't come into play. I see them winning this game by about 45 to 50 points. So that is my best bet and only bet on Saturday in college football. Hey, before we jump to the NFL, I got to ask you guys. We talked about it the last couple of weeks. Prime time. Coach Prime. 2-0. 2-0, guys.
He's the real deal.
And his son, over 900 yards passing in the first 2 games of the season. Just incredible. Think about it.
As we said last week, you got to give him all the credit in the world. Let's see now how he fares against USC, Oregon. Now he's going into the
he's got the big boys coming.
Big boys coming.
Yeah.
No doubt. He's made his name already. So without a doubt, he's locked in. He has a franchise. Let's see how he does the next few weeks.
Has there been any more camera time coverage on a coach in college football? Even more than Nick Saban even has got to be prime time, right?
When I scroll through social media, when I turn on the TV, it's all him. His speeches. First
everything.
of all, after this, he's going to write books about motivational speaking because he fires me up. His locker room speeches, they fire me up. They make me want to go do something crazy. He's impressive. And here's the thing. He's done it twice now. I thought that they were going to beat Nebraska by, maybe 7, 4, 5, 6, somewhere. They crushed them. They got to keep that. It's tough sometimes when you get later in the season to keep that.
Momentum
Their
going,
momentum
sure.
and emotional state is up here right now. They have to keep it.
They're fired up, man.
But
that's
I'm
for
sold.
Sure.
I'm sold right now. There's no way you bet against this guy at the moment.
The locker room has got to be jacked. Right?
100%.
They're bought in
100%.
like I've never seen a team bought in before in my life. And the stadium, they do side-to-side picture comparisons. You see last year's attendance. You see this year's attendance. Last year looked like
sold
an
out.
FAU game, which is terrible attendance.
CU hasn't had a program in 15 years, and no doubt ticket sales, TV revenue, he has already made a mark for that team and that school.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, he's a big-time name. You're talking about a Hall of Fame player, played 2 sports, Major League Baseball and football is in the Hall of Fame. The guy's a great motivator. It is what it is. All right. Anything else?
I just saw an interview earlier in the year. The athletic the manager for Colorado, they asked, do you have the money to pay this guy? They go, not really at this point, but we'll find a way to get it. I'm sure now they got sponsors coming in and everything.
Yeah. They got some nice sponsor money coming in for sure. All right, we got to go to the NFL because we all crushed it here on the show last week. I swept the board. Big Kahuna had a huge week. Teddy had a huge week. If you guys are following our plays, thumbs up to you because we have been doing some serious winning. I'm going to start with Teddy on the NFL. Anything that you feel stands out on these matchups this week? Because there are some good ones.
Yeah, definitely. And before I even say that, I think if you would have bet $100 a game on all of our games combined last week, I think you would have made close to $1,000 just off stuff we're giving out for free, which I think is pretty cool. I have one best bet for Sunday. I was big into a couple games last Sunday. I love the Falcons, and I love the Buccaneers. This Sunday, I don't have that feeling, right, about loving things so much, but I do like the Bengals against the Ravens. This is a
bounce back
game for Burrow.
3.5.
He got paid on Saturday. I'm buying the point here, or at least buying the half a point. Definitely buying the half a point. He got paid on Saturday. I'm not saying he went out and partied. I don't know. He said he wasn't going to party. So he got paid on Saturday and then comes out Sunday and has that performance. But the Bengals are 7-3 against the spread on the road in their last 10. I think it's tremendous value. You're never going to get if the Bengals played like the Bengals last week, this line would be 5, 6. It would have went up, but the Ravens lost Dobbins, their top running back, to an injury.
You got $525 million behind the center on both of these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
2 young guys. One's getting $250 million, and Burrow signs for $275 million. Can you imagine?
That's sick money.
$500 million for 2 players.
And Cincinnati dominates the Ravens as far as the running game. They know how to stop their run. They don't have their running back, so they're going to put all the pressure in the world on Lamar. And 28-14 against the spread in the last 42. This has bounce back written all over it. I think it's the best line on the board Sunday.
That's your best bet?
It's my best bet. Bengals.
Big Kahuna? Let's
Well,
go, man.
listen,
Let's bring some winners in.
I'm looking at this Chiefs-Jacksonville game. All right, we all know what happened week 1 with the Chiefs. We did have the Lions plus the points here. They go to Jacksonville. Jacksonville is getting 3.5 points. Jacksonville is not the team they were 2 years ago. They have a legitimate shot of being a major contender
Trevor
this
Lawrence
year.
showing up.
Trevor Lawrence. KC 1-6 ATS last 7 games of September. Jacksonville 7-1 ATS last 8 games September. 5-0 straight up the last 5 games. Kelsey is still an unknown factor. Mahomes, he didn't show much week 1. I'm taking the 3.5 with Jacksonville at home. I think it's going to be a close game. I'll take the field goal and a half.
Are you buying it to 3 now? Because
No,
I'm showing 3 at most books right now.
It probably came down. Money's definitely going on Jacksonville. I'd recommend buying at 3.5.
Okay.
I could see him winning outright.
All right. Is that a best bet? Or
That is my best NFL bet.
anything else in the NFL?
I have one other game I'm looking at. And once again, Dolphins, Patriots, classic game on Sunday. I think, Pats have held Dolphins to 21 and 22 points last year. Total's been shooting up, 47.5, 48 points. I'm going to buck the trend. I'm going to go under here with these two teams.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Tommy, that's ballsy.
That's a ballsy bet
I'm going against the public here.
Okay.
I'm going to buy it up to 48.5.
Miami looked unstoppable last week.
They did. Patriots are still unknown. I'm going under 48.5, but I love Jacksonville.
Jacksonville it is.
Yep.
All right. Well, listen, I got 2 plays I really like this Sunday. Matter of fact, I'm going to jump on the team I really put out as my best bet. I'm coming right back with Green Bay. I'm going to play this game on the money line. I'm not going to worry about laying 1.5 or 2 points it might go up to. I like Green Bay in this matchup against Atlanta. I think Jordan Love is real. He had a great game his first time. Seemed like the troops rallied around him. And I just think that they can beat an Atlanta team that's so-so at best. And I'm going to take the Packers money line. That's my top play for Sunday. And I'm going to come right back with the other team I put out as a best bet. I'm going to jump on Miami, a money line against New England. I think Miami's too much for New England at this point in time. I think that, as I said a few weeks ago, I think the Dolphins have all the right parts to really be in the playoffs and a possible Super Bowl contender this year. I feel is going to be a big year for the Dolphins, and I just think New England is battling and fighting. They're not the right situation at this time. So I'm going to jump on the Dolphins. I'm going to make that a money line play as well. So those are my 2 best bets: Green Bay money line and the Miami Dolphins money line.
I'm with you on that, Scotty, with the Dolphins and Green Bay. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Jordan Love. They have to, not that it has nothing to do with Rodgers' injury, but what a sigh of relief the Packers have to have, knowing that it's looking like they now have a quarterback for the future, for years to come.
Yep.
He looks good. And then, of course, the Dolphins pick with Tua. I actually leaned Chargers last week, and Tua made me a believer watching that game.
That was a crazy game.
It's going to be tough to bet
yeah.
against him after what he did and Tyreek Hill did.
Yep.
Waddle was kind of silenced a little bit, but if Waddle steps it up too, that's a
The only
trio.
concern I have with the Dolphins, to be honest with you, Ted, is that defense didn't look right. I mean, Herbert was just driving all the up and down the field
Herbert's
against them.
very good.
But
We
he's a
talked
beast.
about him in our
It's not Matt Jones, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
that's the thing. That's another thing. I was very disappointed in what I saw from Mac Jones. I don't know if
Something ain't right there.
him and Danny Dimes, those 2 guys, I don't know if they're going to have the future that some people think they're going to.
What's your take on that situation in New England? I know you keep saying that Belichick
Well,
might be
listen,
his last year and all
it
this
very
stuff.
well might be his last year. Teddy brought up a good point. This guy, Mac Jones, is unproven at this point. So we're going to have to wait and see how all this comes out. But if the Pats do not make the playoffs this year, I think Kraft just shakes hands with Belichick, and they got to find a new leader.
Did you see that halftime ceremony in New England with the honor Tom Brady? I think Kraft was whispering in his ear, "Can you come back for another year or two?"
Yeah, I mean,
I could have sworn I saw that. They were honoring him like that he was gone, but I think they were trying to bring him back and say, "Tom, listen, you're in good shape. Let's do it again, one more time."
You know, the thing is with Mac Jones, I'm always a believer in these Alabama quarterbacks because you see it happening with Tua, you see it happening with Jalen Hurts, but so far it's not happening with him. It could turn around.
I don't know what it is, man. There's something missing there.
It's still early,
yeah,
but
it's called Brady.
I don't know if it's
That's
called
what-
Brady.
well,
Because
I mean-
Brady, listen, Mac Jones reminds me of like Brady in a certain ways. He's slow foot. Brady was always slow, but Brady was unbelievable. He just always made things happen. The difference between Brady and probably everybody else in the position he played, he always made things happen. How he just found ways to keep the drives alive, and he always just
A generational quarterback. You may not see
Lifetime.
that. You may not see that for another 20 years.
There's an it factor, nerves of steel.
Yeah.
Mac Jones just might not have it. You know, the thing about Brady is he faced a lot of adversity through his college career. Mac Jones really, he's now when you go to Alabama, you're not really you're with the best team in college, so
Right.
it's a little bit different.
and he came to a great team in the NFL.
Right.
So he was lucky.
So
15th pick. So he
it's
got
going to
to
be
New
interesting.
England.
I have one more lean
Sure.
in the NFL. I'm leaning Broncos in this game.
Ooh.
Yeah, so the Broncos and the Commanders, I mean, the Broncos lost, the Commanders won. They both didn't play so well. I think Russell Wilson is going to get it together a little bit more this week. I think that, the Commanders let Sam Howell get sacked 6 times last week, and they barely beat a Cardinals team that didn't even have Kyler Murray, right?
Yep.
So
They got a good defense, the Commanders.
they
really do.
They do.
Got some good players on that defense.
I think Denver played a lot more solid than the score showed. I think that the Broncos cover 2.5. I think they win by a field goal. I think the line's at 3 right now. I'm buying the half point on this one.
Well, guys, we've talked a lot of stuff today. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap up another big week of action and hopefully some big winners for the people out there following us? Anything on your mind? I know there's always stuff on your
always something
mind.
on my mind, right? So
How do you want to end it? Let's end it with a bang.
ending it with, you look at what everyone's talking about, Colin Cowherd, big-time TV personality and radio personality in sports,
Oh, yeah.
0-5 against the spread this week in the NFL. It's tough to go 0-5 against the spread, but it just always, if you guys have been following my YouTube channel for the last few years, I always talk about this, talk about it on all my platforms, but people are basing their wagers on what these TV personalities who get paid millions of dollars say. But at the end of the day, yeah, they might know players, they might know the sports, but they really don't know anything about betting against the spread. If you're looking to follow people that know things about betting the spread, follow guys like us. Even if it's not us, follow people in this industry that know sports betting. Just because you're a former athlete or just because you went to a great journalism school and studied sports broadcasting your whole life does not mean you know how to bet against the spread.
Well, the difference between us, this is all we do. We're not personalities per se on TV, portraying to be TV personalities. We love trying to figure out who's going to win these games. And we look at so many things. I can speak for myself. I'm sure I'm speaking for you and Tommy. The bottom line is we spend numerous hours each and every day, sports, looking at lines, numbers, injuries, everything to get the betting edge. And that's the difference that we bring to the table. That's why we can call ourselves experts, because this is exactly what we do and nothing else. Remember that, guys. It's a big edge when you're talking to someone like Teddy and Tommy, the big kahuna, when it comes to sports betting. You're looking for that edge, and that's what we try to find. We look for a number that's off, a mistake, and we try to take full advantage of it. All right, guys, anything else you want to add
Well,
before
just
we
one
go?
other thing. Last week, I'm getting all these DMs. I was putting out the Ravens on some of my social media channels, and they're all coming back. Tommy, can I get something else to hook it up with?
The six-legger again?
Yeah, so once again, people, play these games, same unit amount, don't play parlays. I'm going to produce more wins than losses, locks you in a profit. Get off that parlay train.
Anything you want to add?
I agree. I hate to be saying it at this point.
You hate those parlays.
I hate the parlays. Now, that you guys are going to laugh at this. I absolutely hate the parlays. I hate the players. I don't hate the players, but it frustrates me when players want parlays.
Yep.
That being said, I'm actually parlaying the Bengals and the Broncos money line this week.
Oh, boy. Come on now. You're changing.
When you have two favorites like that, and it's going to be close, and I like both of
What
them.
about teaser?
You could tease them also. If you tease them, now you're both talking about 2+4 teams. So that
How often do you hear people talking teases?
That's an old school term.
I
almost.
don't even think people know what No, I shouldn't say. You don't want to use the word people. I don't hear anyone talking teases anymore.
No,
I actually teased.
unless you bring it up.
I loved Ole
Yeah.
Miss. Or if you guys remember, I gave Ole Miss on this show last week. That was my college play. I actually ended up teasing Ole Miss with the over, and it hit, even though Tulane's starting quarterback was out. I think it would have crushed if he wasn't, but it hit. So I play a little teaser once in a while, Tommy. Football. Not basketball, but football.
I don't hear much about teasers. The old saying round robins, you don't hear that anymore. If in reverses.
Old school terms, man. We've been in this a long time. Don't forget, we're doing this since the mid-'80s.
Please.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right, listen, we had a great show.
Yep.
Where can the people get the information from you, Teddy Brooks? How do they find you?
All right, first we'll start with TikTok because I want to come for Scotty's numbers on TikTok. This guy had 160,000 view video last week from this show. Pretty cool stuff. You can go to TikTok at the Sports Prophets. You can go to Instagram, _Prophets, PROPHETS _pick, no S, and then youtube.com/at the Sports Prophets.
And that's no bullshit, guys, because that company, the name, is what's going on. Profits. Remember that. All right, Big Kahuna. Where can they find you?
Well, you want to
everywhere.
You want to check out my website, onlinesportsbet.com. We have that odds comparison feed where you'll see 7 books with all different numbers. We got props, so that's important. Check out my Instagram. I put out a free pick daily, OSB _sports.
Half your clicks are from me, Tommy. I'm on your odds comparison feed every day.
I appreciate the support.
All right, and you guys can find me, obviously, on TikTok at SMPicks, Picks. Check it out. I'm putting out free stuff. We have been crushing it with our free plays as well as our private service. And on Instagram, SM Sports Picks, Picks. Well, we had a great show. I thank Teddy. Thank Tommy for being here with us again. Check out everything we do on all podcast forums, guys. Repeat, all podcast forums. We do this show to advise you guys on how to make money when it comes to sports betting. So check it out each and every week. This is Scott Matthews. I will be back here with these 2 great guys next week. We'll see you then.